So, everybody, here, Mcluvin News. I've been awake since roughly about 2:40 in the morning. I had to backtrack a bit, but I'm here in the early morning hours. I am not shocked. I repeat, not shocked. I'm not even mad. I'm not angry. No. This is like a reminder to everybody back in 2016. But now we're in 2024. And the country has spoken. I hate to be the bearer of the news for all those who are really hoping for a sweeping blue wave. There's no sweeping red wave. Okay, let's get one thing very clear. They're talking on the news about it being a clean sweep of the battleground states, and that's good, yes. There is a clear message here. I said I would cover this live. I had to get some sleep because, it's stressful. Trump's team didn't get much sleep. Much of his people didn't get much sleep. Everybody waiting for this election results that were really concerned on the Trump side, and everybody in the Trump cult, the Trump team. Maybe we need to set aside cult as a term. But we can't ignore the reality. Trump looks like he's just won America in 2024. That's my report. That means all of the Americans who voted for him are standing into history today to put their names down on the ballot. Every American who voted for Donald Trump, woman, man, doesn't matter where you are in America, there is no hatred. Trump has already made his public speech about let's set aside division, let's rebuild our country, let's make things great again, let's make things better, let's make them better than anywhere else in America. Even though ABC News is covering this coverage in the background and there's a lot of critics about Donald Trump, here's the reality. America has spoken. I'm not going to suddenly turn around and start wearing Trump products and Trump logos now because he's my president, but I don't denounce him. I didn't denounce him in 2016 when I stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning, and I actually stayed up that late to see the results and found out Hillary Clinton lost, and I conceded to realize why. America doesn't and still isn't ready for a woman. It's just reality. It's sad. That's the biggest fear holding most people back. But the fact that they're still blaming for the fact that people in America seem to fail to realize one thing. It's you, the American voter. You are the people and the voices behind much of what is going on with our Congress and what is going on with our White House. Now, in light of Donald Trump's apparent 270 victory, which, let's remind something here, 270 is not a striking, impressive, or painstakingly, sweeping victory. If he just gets about 270, about 280, that tells you something. We are still a very divided country. There is no question. We're very divided. There is still the Kamala side, which I stand with part of that side, but I'm not polarized to be just on Kamala Harris's side. The divide that is going on right now, that's very, very clear. There's still more people who disapprove of Trump than those who disapprove from Kamala, but it's because most people don't know anything about Kamala. Well, since Trump's team and all of his elected officials, and even Elon Musk now, the Tesla-owned CEO, the ex-social media mogul, is now going to be influencing our American politics and our country, because he likes to, be and call himself like Tony Stark. He will never be Tony Stark. Here's the reality. Trump has a valid point to put the division apart. But the question is, can Trump's side, can the Trump groups and all the people out there, can they put division aside? Can they set aside hate and bigotry and the open floodgates of anti-Semitism and white nationalism? Can that be set aside? That's the real question. Because history is now going to be looking at us. It's going to be looking at us and every single person involved right now. Our kids right now, present day and generations to come, going to be watching everything that goes down. I'll be watching. I hope you guys are watching, because when 2016 came into effect and there were massive affected things going on every day, apart from the promises he made, that he didn't live up to those expectations, which a lot of people are still now holding him highly accountable to make these things a reality. Guess what, Trump? Now you've just won the Senate majority of Republicans. That's right, Mr. Donald Trump. If you haven't emphasized that, if you guys haven't heard this, even though there's been some flip Democratic wins and victories around the United States, that's the summary of it. And true, the full election results haven't fully come out, but it's guaranteed at this point, at this hour of the morning, with a full confidence, I can say that I'm facing the reality that Donald Trump has won the United States of America for 2024's presidential election. He will be being sworn in on January 20th of 2025. Here's the reality. They're talking their small points. Now, my reality is, I wasn't mad in 2016 when Donald Trump won, and you can see my face now. I may have not caught it live, but I was awake enough to wake up to the reality that if Trump actually won, or even if Kamala Harris had won, even if they had just barely squeezed by, even from that very tight divide, here's the reality. That core divide, that core message, what that message is ringing true, people in America are still against that fear of essentially thinking that we need to take a step backwards. That's the message that is going on. They're not saying really we need to move forward, because we're going back to a format of where you can rely on Trump to be Trump, and he will be the Trump that we can remember, if not even more, to a colorful character palette, which we can expect to see. Meaning, it's not that we need to be afraid, but we need to be watchful. And remember, nothing is normal. It wasn't normal from 2016. Everything after 2016 wasn't normal. American history and politics and the American people have spoken that this time around, this is now a sounding upset to a lot of people who are going to be mostly upset for the fact that the Trump team has demolished, ruined, sabotaged, cleared out the future of America. But the reality, the biggest reality here, young person like me, 34, turning 35, with people I've met in my life, people in my everyday life, there is a reality here for America. And that's the history to be talked about, is that we are facing now a pivotal moment where America has spoken. They've elected Donald Trump to be the next president, according to what I'm seeing here. We're about to see what the real truth is going to come around, because the media sources, Trump's enemies, Trump's critics, the fundamental enemies that he quotes that he's going to go after, the Venge Tour, the white nationalists that have come out, some of the more disturbing rhetoric from a possible Project 2025 project and what that's going to do to our country. Remember, Project 25, I do not support. I've learned only tidbits about it. I admit I'm not fully read up on the full, 400 pages, 700 pages, whatever long, extensive textbook it is. Let's just remember something. In this election, especially in Florida, a very critical thing for you all to remember in this day in history is that America spoke that women do not have the right to their own bodies. Remember that. That disappoints me. That deeply saddens me. That sickens me. It sickens me for the kids of the present and the future. They set women's voting rights essentially to their rights to even choose basic contraceptive, basic health for their own rights for if they're pregnant, wrongful impregnation, their own baby control, birth over their own bodies. You know, the baby control, like the sense of the control that they have over their own body for their babies that they have, whether it's with a conceived consensual partner or not. America has literally said that even with Trump's clear victory, exactly 270. Remember, that's not sweeping. It's actually 280 now, I think. 280. They're saying 270, but it's 280. It could peak a little bit higher because Wisconsin, Michigan, Maine, Vermont hasn't been sworn in yet. Arizona hasn't been sworn in. And I think it's New Mexico. Yeah, those have not been sworn in. But it doesn't matter at this point. We are in a Trump presidency. We're looking to be restored to a Trump presidency. Anybody who's upset by that, that's understandable. That's understandable. I'm not upset. I'm more so deeply concerned, and I don't need anybody telling me, oh, it'll be okay. It'll be all right. No. The message is for all of you out there that thinks that you're going to try to coddle and comfort us, the other side, this opposite side who didn't vote for your president candidate-elect, now looks to be to Donald Trump. The reminder you need to be remembering is look back at 2016. Look back at 2016. Look at 2016 through 2017, 2018, 2019, up till 2020 when Trump lost to Joe Biden. That was a shock, was it not? Yeah? Well, what happened in those 4 years that Donald Trump was elected president? What did he do? Remember that history. Go back to that moment, leading up to January 6th, which wasn't Trump's whole, let's take over the country, let's replace the government. No, that was a reckless mob. There was certainly no insurrection. A true insurrection would have been a full, complete takeover and a full replacement of the government constituents that we have within our government. So, now Chris Christie's talking. No offense to Chris Christie, but
has been thrown around by both sides.
Now we're looking at a reality that history has spoken, America has spoken.
This is democracy.
History is now on the table. The table has turned to the hands of all those who support Trump. And now you guys, Trump, yes, Trump, you, your team, everybody out there that's on this ticket that supports Trump, his message, his team, let's remember something. Yeah, it's true. We don't have to agree with this. But if you're going to denounce Trump, turn away from politics, get frustrated at this point, you're not understanding the value of where we're fighting for right now every day. To have political leadership that really represents America. And I'm not saying that's what my message is for what I stand for, solely to say that I'm the one to lead that message. It's you guys, those who aren't even on Trump's side, those who don't even have their voices heard, those who are still younger than me, younger than all the people today, the children that haven't been born yet, all the women out there, all the men who are not excited to see, a convicted felon from New York, a convicted two-time, but, overcome victorious, evicted president. Donald Trump is going to be the presumed winner. I'm going to roll over and go back to sleep because it's true. What Chris Christie says is right there, but with less harsh criticism. It's true. Trump is going to be underneath some harsh scrutiny. So I'm going to say that for the first time, last time, which I didn't concede to agree with this, not because I need the American voters to tell me this, based on the votes and what's going on. Forgive me for the darkness. I just don't want my eyelids to be forced to wake up any more than I'm already awake.
But a second presidency, there is opportunity to be different, right?
There is a chance that maybe.
You know what I mean? There was a tone tonight, and part of that
let's see what comes out of this. We're still going to hold Trump accountable. Don't forget that, though. I'm going to hold this situation even higher to a higher standard because my whole message is to fight for the children. I don't see that message in Trump's message, talking about fighting for the children, the present, the future. But it starts with the present, today. So it's really going to matter every day and everything that Trump does right now, and all of his team and everybody involved, what they're about to do to the country that we love. It's about to matter about what's going to happen with the Republican elected leaders who have won, and the Democratic elected officials who have won their respected states. And there has been some Republican wins. So there's been a Democrat win in the Connecticut's 5th congressional district, Johanna Haynes. There's been a decision desk update on the Montana Senate race. It looks like that hasn't been officially called, but it's a very tight and close toss-up race. Trump has now declared his victory 50 minutes ago. It was Pennsylvania that gave Trump this win. So Pennsylvania, sister state to Virginia, Our eyes are on you.
Count on running up
You are the one state, not to say that it's everybody else out there, you're the one state who really gave this swinging victory.
those rural counties, but you have to at least connect them. They have to
So,
you know, your message. That you
going
hear.
back to history,
Not talk down.
recently
I
read.
think that one of the things
Yeah, and I'm not gonna be mad about this, but I'm gonna be concerned about this because
2016, 2020,
I promised everybody I'd do something live, and here I am. I'm live enough.
the rest of the country, what
You know, I'm not mad at these results.
against that. I don't know if that's fair,
No,
not just rural
but I am concerned. And for all those who want to baby and coddle me and tell me,
Chicago, Illinois,
you know, everything will be okay,
and what
it's gonna be all right, or you'll see, this America will be great again. Here's the reality. I don't need to be told, even though that's your free right to tell me America will be great again. I already know this country is great, but it's got a problem. There's a division that's still there. Even Trump said, and I could agree with him, we need to set aside division. We need to come together. Yes, we do. We need to come together on one collected issue. Holding our leaders and the truth of where we stand, even as Americans and our votes, we need to hold those people accountable. And that includes everything from this day forth and what happens from now, what looks to be a clean and effective win, not a sweeping win, okay? It's a clean enough win to prove that this country is still divided.
We know what he's going to do. He's going to try mass deportations. He's going to change.
Yeah, we're going to have mass deportations. We're going to call him out on that. We're going to challenge our tariffs. We're going to abandon Ukraine.
Very different country.
Word for word from what's coming out of here.
Historic figure with few parallels in our
We're going to see what's about to happen in America.
Sorry to say no. We're sitting here
So,
at 266.
You know, we're going to see the promises that Trump has effectively made. We're going to see what's going to come down on the war on the children's present day. And I call it a war on the children's present day. Not because of Trump's win, not because of political votes, but because of the people he has running behind him and who is standing there with him. These are rich, entitled people of their own parties and their own controlled small groups, and some of them are on this Project 2025. Some of them are in this cultist-like control group. So all of you who voted for Trump because you're tired of Biden, tired of the Democratic Party, just remember something. This is the last chance in American politics to really see the swinging true colors of what's going to really be pivotal to make history, to make a proud moment in our American politics, in our history here in America. And the core reality in history of what's being told here, as I've repeated that, I know and I'm aware, is I'm not surprised. No, he's leading by 18,000 votes currently, and that's enough. That's before he was called. So,
New Hampshire has not been called, and this is
even though New Hampshire's not been called, and I'm going to scroll ahead a little bit, even if I back out of this, I'm going to back out of this real quick. Hold on a second. I'm going to back out of this and re-enter into this. Even if, you know, everything's going to go exactly as Republicans, Trump has said, there's been some Democratic turnarounds for Democratic wins in certain Republican states.
yeah. We're just trying to
So,
see what's new in there, and just
it looks like Michigan
is so large.
is going for Trump. Michigan,
So large. It's just-
they're saying it's too early to call it, but
we have just been straining ourselves to try to find it, and just making sure that the math works out. Again, to say nothing of that district
Yep.
in Maine
So,
and in Alaska.
they're not calling it Trump color, but they are essentially saying it. So, congratulations to Donald Trump. Now we're going to say, Trump, I really hope that your message is going to be true. That's what I'm going to say. Okay? Because my fight for the kids, the present day, I'll say this again, that doesn't stop no matter who was president. I didn't think that even if Kamala Harris won, that all the problems are going to get fixed. Because remember something, as I've just reiterized, the past references to times and days and eras and even divisions of what is true in our history so far, that Trump even said we need to move on from. And it's true. We do need to move on from that past rhetoric. But the question is, where do we head on from now, present day, to our future? And what are we going to do? What are we going to hold? And who's going to be held accountable for their actions and their choices for what they're going to be doing? So fascination there. There was more Senate and House votes for the Democratic choices over the Democratic presidential choice. And that just explains the fact many people didn't know President Harris. Many people who did hear about her heard negative things. She doesn't hold a lot of strong political history. So, and she's a woman. So people are going to hold that against her too, because she's a woman, because a lot of people still think we don't need a woman in president because of that misogynistic old classic style of thinking, put a woman in presidency and she's going to have mood swings and she might get on her, her period and maybe cause some problems. Classic stupidity and fear and hate and misogyny and disrespect for a woman president. We need a motherly figure in our presidency. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, think about this. France gave us Statue of Liberty in New York, and the Statue of Liberty, is a woman who is to welcome all of our poor, tired, desperate. But where is that in America? Where is welcoming our poor, our desperate, our destitute, those who come from low and inequality areas that just come to America looking for the promise of a better land? Where is that dream? Where is that America? That's the question. So now we're talking about people who are more about less about the economy, but more about the border, immigration. There's a lot of worry over the economy. Don't get me wrong. Everyone's worried about that. But now we have to hold Trump to the standard that he's saying that he's going to fix the economy. He's taking on a lot of responsibility. And don't get me wrong. I see the reality in that. How does he expect to turn a sweeping victory? So I am not going to hate Mr. Donald Trump. I don't spend a second with hate. I've said that before. But what I am going to say is, before I wrap up everything, is going forward, I'm going to hold him accountable, and everything that comes out of his party and all the people behind him, including Elon Musk, who now, we have to remember, Elon Musk is going to be apparently given the budget cutting role. He's not even getting a congressional election role. You guys ever seen the movie Idiocracy, where President Camacho, played by Terry Crew and a couple other, it's not Terry Crew, no. Let me make a corrected error here.
Congratulations to the real Donald Trump and real Donald Trump on his impressive election victory. I recall.
Let me see here. Hold on.
President Trump back in September when we discussed in detail the Ukraine
It was
strategic partnership, the victory plan, and ways to.
Yeah, it was Terry Crews. I had that right.
Against Ukraine. So Martha, that is
Zelensky
reaching out to say we talked, we spoke, we talked about our alliance. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, there's a lot of tears coming out of Kamala Harris's party, but you guys, Kamala Harris. Let's remember something. All of you guys who don't know who I am and those who follow me on my small channel, I think Kamala Harris supporters need to move over and watch me, because I'm probably voicing a lot of voicing that you guys care about, and even being able to cope and handle with this shock and awe moment of what's going on with the reality of facing the fact that America has turned to say that we need Donald Trump to be our next president. Remember something. This is true. Trump won, but he's not running this to see any other message other than hoping to bring unity and quality back to America. But the scary reality that we have to remember is the people that stand behind him, the people that voted with him, people that are standing with him, many of the people who did vote for him, more or less of those people are still diehard, never going to ever abandon old people. And let's not forget the people who turned away from Trump. People that couldn't stand to vote for that man. People who didn't even want to vote this election. People who only voted because they were polarized. Is it hate? Is it fear? It's the question of people being sick and tired and not wanting to be a part of this whole political atmosphere. The reality is we can't ignore it anymore. We can't sit here and say that our country's not facing a pivotal historical moment, regardless of who's the winner. And because Trump is the winner and projected to be the winner, based on what I'm seeing, you see my face, you see my reaction. I'm not at all tearful, sad. I'm a bit concerned. And again, for all the people who say, maybe you need some comfort, maybe you need some support, or everything's going to be okay. You'll see Trump will be great. Yeah, we'll see about that. I'm not going to join a Trump train, but I'm going to say that I do acknowledge that Donald Trump is going to be my president and J.D. Vance is going to be my president and vice president for 2025. That's the reality we're looking at here. It's not the election results I was wishing, dreaming, but more so importantly for all the people who didn't vote for Trump, didn't vote for J.D. Vance, who wanted Kamala Harris, who wanted Tim Walz, me included, all you guys who are supporters of those two candidates and they didn't get to this point, remember something. Our vote from this point on, our responsibility, our actions, our initial goal is to not step away from politics. Don't go burying your heads in the pillow, in the sand, in the closet, hiding away from the reality of what's really happening here. Because even though most of the male candidates on the ticket that did better than the women who ran against them opposing versus men, some men in the Republican Party did fairly better than some women or some men, and even some men versus some men in the Republican ticket. So the message here is that Republicans, hardened anti-government people are saying to the Republican Party, we don't want more government control. That's the old Republican Party. If you look back at an old history map, and I encourage you to do it if you haven't done it, look back at the recent polling of all presidential elections from the very first president of the United States till today. You'll be sweepingly surprised by not so much history proving that Democrats used to be slave owners and Republicans used to be anti-slave owners. There's no surprise there. That's history. And if that shocks anybody, go back and read a history book. But now we're facing the reality that the rhetoric coming out of the Republican Party today is people that are behind a lot of this Trump messaging, maybe not Trump himself who's saying this, is saying that we welcome slavery, we welcome anti-Semitism, we welcome white supremacy. Okay, so now we're going to hold this accountable to all of you who are pissed off, angry, upset, who are bitter about this, who are remorseful, who are heart-torn, who are disgusted. And now they've got a new upcoming vote coming out. I think it's Nevada they're trying to call. Let's just remember something. No, they haven't called it, so it's just mainly primarily Las Vegas is Democratic, and the rest of the whole state is pretty much.
Las Vegas, Clark County is by far the largest.
Yeah, Las Vegas is the only place that believes in Kamala Harris. The rest of the county is pretty much guaranteed to go to Donald Trump, and that's fine. I mean, that tells you something. People that live in the wealthy, rich cities, the corrupt, whether it's the gangs, the mafias, the controls. It's not to say that those are the types that only side with Democratic, okay? The ones that have all the big power, all the big control. But the reality we need to remember here, as I close this off, is that it's the harsh reality of, it's the harsh reality that we are living in an America that is represented by Americans who are saying we don't want to go to a more democratic controlled future. We need a future for our securing our borders, preserving, I guess, the anti-Roe versus Wade future that Donald Trump is proud to bestow. Maybe he'll finally turn it back. Who knows? We'll see. He's the one who put those Supreme Court justices. So now Donald Trump is going to become the sworn in elected leader, and that's coming up later on. Let's remember something, guys. Okay, let's remember something seriously. We have to come together in America, not because of the so obvious division and problems in America that is affecting everybody, but because we are truly divided. And it is true. Most of the country didn't vote for Trump. If everyone says that Trump won this in a sweeping landslide victory, no. Even if he wins by 280, 290, that's not a sweeping victory. But I am proud to say that I'm glad America has spoken and that I'm seeing the majority of what I'm seeing so far. And, Alan Lichtman, who said that he actually thought that we were going to have a clean victory by Kamala Harris. I guess he's just now going to be conceding his words. But this is my live response. And I want to thank you for watching Mcluvin News. You better believe I'm going to be staying on top of this, and nothing is going to change. In fact, the accountability of holding either president was my goal, regardless, whoever won. So, congratulations to Donald Trump. I like to say that it's like a little underdog story, but he's not really an underdog. The man was handed a free $1 million bounty when he was a child, or $1 million loan, not a bounty. It's practically like a free handout. He got a free handout when he was a kid. So now we're going to see what a trust fund kid who has bankrupted dozens of businesses, been convicted of countless crimes, 2 previous presidential pivotal points in which he was clearly, told that he needed to get out of being president during his time, and he's got 2 outstanding track records, at least in context of where he started from where he's been, being a previous Democrat and then switching to the Republican Party. You can look back, go back to the late 90s. Donald Trump was a proud Democrat. Everybody else who thinks Donald Trump is a true Republican at heart, he's always been a Democrat. Why did he switch around and run for Republican and run Republican values? He's doing a wonderful job of inflaming the fear, inflaming the ignorance. And right now his message, and what I get out of the core message of this, is that he really cares about at least trying to give that message that we need to sow the division, make America the best that it can be, based on the facts of what he's saying he's trying to essentially do, which is bring that party and that message to really unify the country, get out of the war in Ukraine, which we're not technically that deep in, but he's talking about dropping the deficit. Let's not forget that. He did mention that. Building the wall. We're going to see about the wall. Definitely going to see how well the wall and the efforts of the wall and the accomplishments of the wall get done. We're going to see about the whole impacts of what pivotal historical moments we in America are going to take to step away from the war in Ukraine and see what's going to happen, to see if, when our funding stops, if we're just going to withdraw and abandon NATO, if he's going to completely abandon NATO since Joe Biden put us back in NATO. We're going to see about that. Is it really smart for us in America to leave dictators like Putin and other leaders in the world and the powerful forces to just step in and take over countries at their own will and free volition? So President Zelensky already announced he's proud, and he announced a conceding message of, pride toward Trump winning. And I say, for this hour of the morning, yeah. And can I go back to sleep and not be stressed? Sure, yeah. You know why? Because a lot of you other Americans out there that haven't been following this climate, you guys aren't aware of what's going on with the confusion and frustration, maybe perhaps that has been going on with this country. And maybe that's why you need to be more focused if you weren't aware of what's going on. Now, I'm not saying that nobody that has or hasn't voted yet, or didn't get their vote in, or maybe chose not to vote or sit this out, you don't have a voice. If you didn't have a voice then, you have a voice now. You have a voice through me, at least to be a part of my channel, because this is what my channel represents. Even in the division, even in the differences of our country and all the differences that bestow where we are in America, there is no question and no reality that now the comics, the cartoons, the critics, everyone that's going to come out of the woodwork, out of the closet, everyone that's going to come out and speak about this, there is no question we are going to be seeing a precedent of history being made today toward into tomorrow, but it's already been officially pretty much called that Trump is the victory winner. So congratulations to Donald Trump, to all his supporters and everybody else, again, who voted for him, that now our eyes turn to you. You are the people who we are going to be watching. Same thing with the Republican Party and all those who are won. And if you're thinking about trying to coddle or comfort the rest of America right now by telling them that, you'll see our president is the victor. You'll see Trump will make America great again. Trump was never meant to be run by a woman. Whatever things come out of half of what's going to come out of those who are on Trump's side. Here's the true reality. What about the children? The pivotal moment of history and the children today. I stand for that. I defend that. And I will be fighting to preserve that, because that's not about owning up to giving that power and that responsibility to anybody but the children. And you got to remember that. The children come first. The present comes first. And now that we've spoken and we've given the power to step back, in a sense, step back to a former elect president who was twice convicted and, wasn't officially kicked out of his presidential term for the times that he was. This is what you get when you're using a background filler on the other side. The thing you want to remember, even with the movie Idiocracy, if you haven't watched it, go watch Idiocracy. Really, go watch it. Idiocracy. If you haven't seen what Idiocracy is, it's right here. It's a comedy sci-fi. It's well worth watching, from 2006. A lot of people didn't like this movie, but it received enough freshness there, and it's definitely a good one for anybody who hasn't seen it, because it's a pivotal moment in predicting what's going to happen in our future. Now, based on the fact of that, and the full length of this video, since it's quite long, and I realize that, that's my close for today. Thanks for watching.